All right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging and Friends. We're back tonight. We're playing a new game tonight, starting a new game. Adam is moving around in the seat. We are playing some TIMEWATCH, and we're doing our session 0 tonight. TIMEWATCH is, if you don't know TIMEWATCH, is a game that uses the gumshoe system. It's from Pelgrane Press. It's written by Kevin Culp. And the reason we're playing it is because Jeremy, Melissa, and myself have been playing Swords of the Serpentine on Thursdays and having an absolute blast. And so if it works for that, we're going to play it again. And so that's what we're going to do, except instead of it being, sword and sorcery stuff, it's going to be sci-fi time traveling goodness. And that's essentially where we're at. So that's that. So I have an obligatory icebreaker question, and then we're going to get in. Okay, so we have to do this. This is just sort of, I think it's required. I think it's in the book somewhere. So I'm going to start with my tray, and everyone is going to get the same question. So Chuck, you have plenty of time to prepare. Okay. What is your favorite time travel and or parallel dimension kind of deal? What's your favorite property? Like, could be a movie, could be a book, could be a comic, could be a TV show.
It's a short story, actually. It's a short story, and I'm fairly certain it's by Ray Bradbury, but I don't really remember. But it's either called the butterfly effect or it references the butterfly effect.
Talking about Sound of Thunder?
Maybe.
So Sound of Thunder is the Bradbury story where like the butterfly effect thing kind of came in.
Yeah, it's the guy that goes back in time and does the dinosaur safari.
Exactly.
And accidentally steps on a butterfly. And so that's my favorite.
That's the one. Yeah, it's a Sound of Thunder. Which I should say Thundercliffs. Thunder waves make thunder. Sorry, I've been on a 13th Warrior kick lately, and it's because of that. Okay, anyhow, excellent choice. Okay, fantastic. We're off to a great start. Joe, you got to follow that. What do you got?
This is the only thing that deals with time that I don't hate for like plot continuity things. I would say Arrival. It's my favorite.
Ooh.
That's a great choice. That's a wonderful book. Absolutely. One. Yeah.
I like, she kind of sees it all at the same time, and like it doesn't, events don't change. They just are. If I
remember correctly, that is based on a short story, or is it a short story by Ted Chiang, I think.
I love Ted Chiang. So. Are you serious? Yeah. I didn't know that was by him.
I have his Exaltation book on my bookshelf out in the living room, so it could be one in there. Yeah. So these are two great choices. This is the highbrows. That's why you all are at the top level. I put you up here because you're a highbrow. I put Adam, Jeremy, and Chuck on the bottom row.
I see how it is.
Because they're going to be the lowbrow answers. Melissa, what do you got?
So I'm going with TV shows, and I think I'm going to say Fringe. I'm going to go parallel and say Fringe.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a very good choice. It's a wonderful show.
Yeah, it was. If it was time travel, I was going to say Continuum, because I really did like Continuum, but I like Fringe too more than Continuum. So,
what was that one that we watched a couple of years ago with J.K. Simmons? Counterpart. Does anyone here watch Counterpart? It was on Prime Video. It only lasted for 2 seasons, and it has kind of a Fringe quality to it. Watch it.
Whoa.
It did not end. It ended prematurely, but it's so good. Like, it's really, really good. So Amazon was canceling. There was also like the other one that he made with Sissy Spacek, but that wasn't the time travel one. It was also J.K. Simmons, and they also canceled too soon. It was also really good.
So that was such a good one. That was such a good one. But yay for Fringe.
Excellent choices. So all very good choices. And now we're going to bring it down a little bit. Let's go ahead.
We are going to bring it down a little bit. Yeah. Okay. My favorite time travel is old and classic. It's the original Terminator.
Oh yes,
I love that.
That's a great choice.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with Terminator at all. It's phenomenal, fantastic. There are ways in which you could kind of build cyborgian robots and such in here as enemies, so it's definitely possible. And I think even one of the potential playable character, like non-human playable species, is like a cyborg android synthetic. So technically, you could potentially make a Terminator, a good Terminator, since you're part of TIMEWATCH. Okay, we're doing great. These are great choices. Okay, Jeremy, what you got?
I don't know if they're the best, but I remember the same year, I think it was around second grade or so, like two time travel things like were super impactful on me. So within the same summer, I watched Back to the Future, and I also found my dad's copy of there's a Michael Moorcock book called Behold the Man, and that really just like I loved it.
Yeah, you're a big you love the
I love Michael Moorcock.
You love Moorcock. Yeah, you do.
I do.
You do. Absolutely. Yeah. So that I think that tracks. That tracks. That's great. Okay, Chuck, what you got?
Oh man, I've been sitting here because there's a bunch that I really, really dig. And so I'm like, do I want to say 12 Monkeys because of all the weird just crap? I feel like it's the appropriate, but then like Edge of Tomorrow's solid. Palm Springs is really fun.
Oh, that's a great movie. The Andy Samberg one. That's a really good movie.
Yeah, it is. But I think I'm gonna go with The Endless.
Oh, excellent choice.
Yeah,
that's
I
by
really
the guys who did Resolution, The Endless. They did
what was it? The Resolution is a prequel to The Endless.
Prequel, yeah. And then they did like
Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead.
Yeah,
there's the light of whatever.
Yeah, I think didn't those guys take over Daredevil, like the new Daredevil? Am I right? Am I right about that, Jeremy?
I think so. There's a lot of input on the new Daredevil season.
They're executive producers.
Okay, Endless is really good. If you they're these little indie movies. Resolution is even more like indie, but then Endless actually has some polish to it. But like the two of those are great, and they're definitely interconnected. So really good movies. Great choices. Fantastic.
What's yours?
Okay, so I have two that I'm gonna pull out here because I didn't think anyone was gonna pick them. So Parallel Worlds. I thought about doing this as our campaign premise. It's called Gideon Falls. It is a comic book, and it was by Jeff Lemire, Canadian, also named Jeff, and it is a parallel worlds horror story where like in this like the stitches between parallel worlds, there's like this little evil thing that comes up. I don't want to spoil it all, but it's a fascinating and a really interesting comic, and it's the comic that got me into reading comics again because I was not a huge comic book reader. Yeah, when I was younger, I read some Spider-Man stuff and everything, but it was like maybe 10 years ago. I don't know when it first came out. Me and my buddy Justin, we were doing like a podcast, and like I started reading that as to review it, and I loved it. I read the whole thing. It's amazing, but it's horror, and I don't know. There's a lot of us, and it's going to be weird and wacky. So I figure weird and wacky is probably fits us better. And then the other one I read recently, I just wanted to bring up. It's called The Gone World, which I also thought about doing. But that one's like True Detective / Delta Green, but with time travel or parallel worlds. So it's a really interesting book. Kind of like it's by who's it by? Tom Sweterlich. What a name. But like I loved it. Like 90% of it. The last 10% I wasn't thrilled with the ending, but I loved the rest of it. The rest of it was really good. So if you're like a True Detective fan, or if you like Delta Green or something like that, it nails it. And then the ending, other people probably like the ending. I'm just not one of those people. But anyhow, there we go. Those are excellent choices. Okay, so
just to share, chat has thrown some things out there like hot tub time machine and clock stoppers.
Clock stoppers. Wow. Okay. Did not expect to hear clock stoppers. Okay. What it's called, like time traveling. One of the things it's called is like when you leave. I think I can't remember if it's when you arrive or when you leave, but it's called clocking out. So like there is some terminology with clocks when it comes to time travel in this game. So that's kind of fun. Okay, so let's get into it. So I got a plan for us. We're going to start character creation. Then we're going to stop it. We're going to mid character creation. We're going to stop. We're going to do some world building, and then we're going to come back and we're going to finish the mechanical stuff of character creation. So I'm using some tools and some things on Foundry that we'll talk about in a minute. But if you're unfamiliar with TimeWatch, or if you all didn't read through any of the materials, which is totally fine. Basically, TimeWatch, if you want like an elevator pitch, you're effectively playing an elite agent of some kind, recruited from history or future history, or even collapsed timelines to protect the one true timeline, so to speak, whoever has deigned this timeline to be the one true timeline. Your life basically has extended beyond the ordinary. You're traveling across time. You're fixing disruptions that are caused by like various things like rogue time travelers, alien invaders, other threats that could potentially unravel reality itself. You got all sorts of advanced tech. You're trained in history and what's called chronal theory, which is like the theory behind time travel effectively. And basically your goal is just to ensure that the flow of time like is unaltered, right? And you aren't screwing the future up in some way. So your job essentially is hunting down saboteurs and stuff. So it could be like you could go one scenario where we could go to like ancient Rome. Another one could be some futuristic mega city. You know, we could go to like the 1940s Chicago. Like we could do lots of different things basically. And you're trying to fix these little things and then make sure that no one knows about it and you haven't created any kind of paradoxes. So it's pretty fun. You all, as TimeWatch agents, you are basically housed, or at least your like supervisors, your organization comes out from the Citadel. That's like your central hub, and this is located in before the Big Bang. It's like in a quantum singularity or something like that before the Big Bang. So it's like outside of like conventional time. So it's kind of a hub there where you'll send back people you've arrested for time crimes or something like that, or people who need to like be reworked in some way, or their memories have to get changed or something like that, or you just need to go get like some kind of tech expertise or whatever. So this is sort of what we're going to be playing. So we're going to be going all over the place, and it's a lot of fun. And much like with Back to the Future, there's the possibility of you just kind of like flickering out of existence if like one of your abilities gets too low. You just kind of fade away. And not only that, but if you fade away, like one of the recommendations in the book, if you ever lose a character this way, is to go through your GM notes and Control F search for that character's name and just delete them. And that's it. Because not only did they die, but they never existed. And so everybody else in the group doesn't know them. So what I was thinking, one of you dies like that, you're out of the group.
Oh,
boom,
shit.
You're gone. Should I erase it?
It was always 5 players.
You have to wear like a mustache the next time you show up to the call. It's not you.
Joe? I don't know a Joe. What are you talking about? Gotta change your look in some way, you know?
Yeah.
5 players, 4 lights. It's all
suddenly there are 4 lights. Yeah. Suddenly we end up with there's just 3 of us. It's just me and 2 other people. That's it. So, and it was always like that. Okay. So I asked you all to come to this session 0 with some character concepts. It's like basic character concepts. So to give you an example of what I mean by character concept, we're not talking about mechanics. We're not talking about where you're putting points. This is just sort of like a narrative sentence that kind of just identifies like your theme, your concept, maybe where you are in history or in the timeline that your character is from. You all are very capable people. You have to be capable in order for you to come to the attention of TimeWatch, or in order for them to kind of give you this opportunity. So I'm just going to read some examples from the book, and then we'll share what everyone is thinking, and we'll kind of settle on what your basic concept is. So some very simple ones. The list starts off pretty common. We got a cynical philosopher from ancient Greece. It's like a Socrates from Bill and Ted. No one mentioned Bill and Ted, by the way. A Roman spy from the time from the time of Emperor Vespasian. A samurai from the 12th century Japan. A politically adept noble assassin from the Renaissance. A Sioux scout from the early 1800s. A police detective from Victorian England. Nikola Tesla's former research assistant. A 1950s private eye from New York City. And now it's going to get a little weird. A late 21st century genetically engineered super intelligent spider monkey. A 22nd century Chinese research scientist. Okay, that one's kind of normal. A 24th century psychic street rat from a subterranean global megacity. A 26th century suborbital soldier. A 31st century hovering disembodied psychic brain. A memory damaged clone of a famous slain agent trying to live up to a reputation she doesn't deserve. Or a TimeWatch lab technician or chronal anthropologist who received a field promotion to full agent. Okay, so I am going to roll a little d6, and we're going to see, and we're going to just kind of start sharing. I just want to hear what your idea is. So first up, Joe, what you thinking, man? What is your character concept you're going with?
Am I saying like all of the ones that I have right now? Or
sure.
Like,
yeah.
Okay. So I've got a few. The 3 that I was thrown around. One was Sunju, and he would just be like a tactician type guy, and I would just be saying dumb quotes the entire time.
Okay.
He'd be spitballing and workshopping his book a lot. He hasn't quite got to write it yet.
I did some really quick research. Like, there's definitely disagreements over whether or not Sun Tzu is like has any kind of historical accuracy, whether somebody really existed by that name. Some people, it's like maybe it was someone, somebody wasn't. Wouldn't it be hilarious if the reason Sun Tzu exists is because it was actually a time travel agent that was just trying to eventually leverage their book and that was going to release in the 20th century or something like that? Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. That'd be fun.
What else are you thinking?
A bunker survivor of someone that, because there was the fear in World War II that the entire atmosphere would ignite and everyone would die when the first nukes were lit. So this is an alternate timeline where that happened. And this is like one guy that survived that.
Okay.
And then he would be kind of like a survivalist type person. And then
I like it.
Wacky future one is a genetically engineered super soldier guy that ages backwards because they're cloned at normal age. And he's like
a Benjamin Button situation.
A little bit, yeah. And now he's like a baby, like Death Stranding type inside of a big robot.
Okay. So let's throw this out this way. Does anybody else here have a burning desire to play Sun Tzu? Anybody?
No.
Okay. Is anybody else thinking of doing some kind of like Fallout post-apocalyptic character of some kind?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay. You're not. I was literally asking that as a leading question because I thought that was going to be your answer. Okay.
I think I'm settled on my other option.
Okay. Fair enough. And is anyone looking to be like a far future genetically enhanced super soldier? Okay,
super soldier baby.
Yeah.
Super baby.
Yeah.
Eventually will be a baby. Okay, so Joe, you have full reign. Just go with your gut. What's your number one?
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with Sun Tzu for now, and then I'll fall back on the super soldier.
Okay.
Cool.
Depending on if we need more muscle or more.
If something happens during everything, we can always change it up. But like for now, we're gonna pencil Joe in for being Sun Tzu. Okay. All right. Next person, Jeremy, you are up next.
Yeah. So I've got two concepts that are kind of like two sides of the same coin and a backup, but I feel like I'll probably go with my gut. My gut is caveman, survivalist extraordinaire, lookout, and just too dumb to have problems with paradoxes.
Okay. Are you thinking
either it works or doesn't? 50-50.
Are you thinking like Homo sapien? Or are you thinking like Neanderthal? Like, are you thinking like?
I'm thinking almost like if we have collapsed timelines, like something where it's almost like semi-Call the Conqueror style, like where you have things where like maybe things like had evolved, de-evolved, who knows?
Okay.
I'm open to it. But yeah, I don't think he's like the big giant. I think he's more of like he's probably like 5'2", like scrappy as hell, but like just.
Okay. Yeah. I like it. This is great. Okay. So what's your second option?
A flip side of that would be potentially like if we wanted to have somebody who's more from far future do like a Thundar the Barbarian thing. Mm-hmm. And like if I do the caveman, I might take something like anthropology to represent like he understands seeing like weird old cultures. Versus if you do the Thundar the Barbarian guy, I might take future history because he might have seen some weird stuff from the future.
Anybody else have a caveman idea that they were working on? Okay. I know Melissa has a future person idea she's working on.
Okay.
All right.
Then I feel very comfortable being a caveman.
All right, man. Excellent. Okay. Fantastic. This is going great.
I love this for you.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Chuck, you're up. Yeah.
I've got two ideas that I'm pretty solid with. The first is a retired cowgirl bounty hunter and trick shot.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Nice.
The second is a reclusive pumpkin farmer, History Channel buff, and conspiracy theorist. But his conspiracy theories are scary accurate.
That's so cool.
If you do the second one, can I pitch an idea to you?
I'm game for that.
Okay, so here's something. There is an ability in this game called trivia So what if your pumpkin farmer is actually just like ridiculously good at game shows and stuff like that? And that's like where his trivia stuff comes from. And his just dominance of trivia is what has drawn the attention of
I think
time
that's
travel.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that in all fairness, the cowgirl bounty hunter thing, I was just gonna be playing my Aunt Nancy.
That's cool. Do you want to which one do you prefer? Does anyone else want to do a pumpkin farmer conspiracy theorist trivia nut? Anybody else want to do like a trick writing bounty?
I'm just picturing the pumpkin farmer being the average person that's on that Doomsday Preppers show.
I'm good with the pumpkin farmer.
That's
okay,
so
man.
Cool.
Old Farmer Jenkins is back at it again.
Just okay. Okay. All right.
Although I keep thinking of a meme around Halloween where it's an actual like person made of pumpkins sitting out on a front porch of a farm. So pumpkin farmer is like a literal
pumpkin man who farms.
Okay. Yeah. I like it. Okay. We'll get into like a point how you guys are going to spec your points and stuff later, but like this getting the flavor down now, I think it's going to be helpful when we go into the world building stuff I want to do. And then we'll come back at the end once we see how everything lays out. And like, just keep yourselves loose for now in terms of like how your characters, because you're going to start drawing some connections to each other and stuff like that. So there might be, give yourself room, because some of you are going to know each other and have connections, and that might change some things as well. So we'll kind of get into that. Melissa, you are next.
Okay. So I definitely was going to do someone in the future. I had two options, but the one that I like the most, and I don't think it's bumping up against anyone else, is basically someone who started out as sort of like a roughneck type. So like a futuristic, sort of like a miner or a shipbuilder or something along those lines, who turns into like a workers' rights revolutionary type. So that's what I'm thinking. So a little more of the kind of like mechanic roughneck skills. But like the reason that they would, yes.
Just say drama. I think everyone knows. Everyone knows what you're talking about.
So if you were an aristocrat, if someone were an aristocrat, you'd be a minor threat.
I would absolutely be a...
Are you going to equip yourself with psychic attacks, Adam?
I want to point out something. In this game, so Jeremy, I'm not sure if you've heard about stitches yet. Okay, refresh tokens are different than Swords of the Serpentine. There's something called stitches. There's a pool, general pool, and then at the start of a session, and then we all reward people for just funny play, good role playing, etc. No one's allowed to reward bad puns, and by bad puns, I mean puns. Take them away. That's what I'm throwing out. That's like.
Adam loses a stitch.
We're doomed.
He's just gonna burn it to the ground. Okay,
yes,
so we got a future.
I would definitely be a minor threat to any bureaucrat. And Chuck has already updated his background with pumpkins, so
I love it.
You'll be ready to go.
Okay, my Trey, you are next.
I have two ideas that are pretty wildly different. One is kind of more sort of gadgeteer inventor type, like 14th, 15th century, like apprentice to Leonardo DiCaprio, not DiCaprio, Leonardo
DiCaprio.
Da Vinci. Designing machines that are like far ahead of their time kind of thing. And so like that vibe. The other vibe was something a lot more facey, which was like a 1980s political spin doctor.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay, so you're gonna be like, oh my god, James Carville or something. Okay, I'm just gonna write down James Carville.
My Trey equals hair. James Carville
with hair.
Yeah, just at some point I think he had some, but it left pretty quick. Okay. Okay. Do you have one that you're leaning to more than the other?
I don't, but hearing what everybody is saying, I feel like we're gonna need something more facey, so probably that.
I would say don't worry about that too much because there's six of you,
but
tons of points, and there's all sorts of different ways for this to work. Like there's all sorts of different ways to interact. There's multiple ways that you can kind of incorporate like social stuff. So don't feel like you're like you don't need to do a face. Like if you don't want to do that, because I know you did that last time with other skates.
Sort of like a revolutionary figure. So like she can also fill a little face stuff if needed. So like if you liked the other one better, you can do that.
No, I think I'll stick with this kind of like spin doctor, diplomat, politician thing.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Jazzed for your 80s.
Yeah.
Is this game like Quantum Leap style where people perceive you in a particular way, or are you?
Great question. You have a bunch of, we'll get into this when we get into standard gear, but you have a bunch of gear that essentially makes it easy for you to fit into various time frames. We'll go over this later, but you do have some this chronomorphic gear that makes it easier for you to blend in.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Adam, what you got?
I was thinking a soldier from World War One, and let's see, he would have been a part of the Royal Scots Fusiliers.
Okay, very cool.
Serving on the Western Front.
Oh, that's awesome. And you're going to do like the trench soldier thing, the idea? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so good. Okay. All right. So our lineup is a World War I trench soldier, a James Carville from the 1980s with more hair.
I don't know who that is.
God dang it. He's the
still
Cajun guy
today.
Come on, man. He was in what was he in? He was in what was the movie with Will Ferrell? Old School. He's in Old School too. If you don't really know that, you can at least saw Old School, right?
I don't think so.
I hate you. All right, Joe's the first one.
I just turned 21.
We'll fill you in, Joe.
Good.
Melissa is a future sharp shipbuilder, / labor revolutionary, pumpkin farmer, conspiracy theorist, trivia expert, a caveman in Sun Tzu. There we go. We're good to go.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
What a team. Okay. So that we're going to flesh this out and we're going to do the mechanical stuff a little bit later. So what I want to do with us now is I want to do some world building stuff. Now, I want to give credit where credit is due. I was reading the Pelgrane Press, which is again the company that publishes this. They have a blog series like CXX, and one of these posts was I saw one by a guy by the name of Eric Paquette. Paquette. I don't know. I asked Kipster how to pronounce like French Canadian language, and she helped me, and I forgot. But what he did was he used these things called backstory cards, which is a physical product. It's by it was like you can actually get the physical copy of this by I think it's called Brooklyn Indie Games. But what it basically is, it's a connections building thing. It's like a session 0 kind of supplement. And so it sounded like a lot of fun, made a lot of sense. And so we're going to give it a try. There is a Foundry mod and a really nice Foundry mod actually that does a lot of this for us. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to establish some elements to our campaign. So there are 4 different categories. So an element is either going to be an individual, which is like an NPC. It could be we're not defining right now whether they're ally. We're not defining whether they're antagonist. We're not even necessarily defining what their name is. We're just sort of a concept, right? We're going to keep it loose and categorical. I'm going to ask you all to make them up, but just because you're making it up, don't take ownership of it. It's not your characters. You're not tied to that element. It's just we're throwing these onto the map so that everyone can eventually play with, and we'll figure out who has connections to what. So some examples, like from that blog post I mentioned, like a school teacher. We just write a school teacher down. We can write a rogue TIMEWATCH agent. We could do like an android with faulty programming, right? These are the types of what I mean by categorical. We just kind of keep it broad. And then over the course of development, we see who's getting connected to what and how are we kind of fleshing this out with some of these cards that we're going to draw in a minute. Another category is group. So this could be a formal or an informal organization of some kind, or a faction. So it could be like, again, example from the blog, it could be like a black ops military scientist, or it could be like a doomsday cult, it could be like a corporate think tank, something like that. Another category is place. So locations, you can think of this both like spatially, like geographically, but also temporally, like where in the timeline, and when in the timeline, right? So it could be, these could end up being safe houses. They could be danger zones, right? So it could be like ancient Egypt. It could be like a 24th century gas station by Jupiter. It could be like an abandoned farm in like Dust Bowl era Kansas, like any of these things. We don't necessarily know why they're important right now, but by putting them on our grid, we know that at some point they're going to be important during the process. And then the last category is an event. So it's something that has happened, is happening, or will happen. We're going to do all sorts of weird stuff with time throughout the course of the campaign. So it could be like training. It could be Chuck's 40th birthday party. It could be Gen Con 2025. It could be any of these types of things.
Nice.
They're just events. Okay. So there's 4 categories, and then there's 3 in each of these categories. That's 12. I know I'm an English teacher, but I can do that kind of math. And there are 6 of you, which means each of you are going to come up with 2. You're welcome to get stuff from the audience. You're welcome to help each other out, whatever. But we're going to go through these. And when it's your turn to go, just grab one that's not been used before and throw an idea out there. And again, keep it loose, keep it like flexible for now, and we'll build as we go. Any questions? Understand what I'm asking? All right.
No question.
First up, Jeremy. Pick one. What do you got? Yeah.
Just pick any.
Anyone. You have the full. You could pick an individual, a group, a place, or event. Just throw out an idea.
Let's go with an event.
Okay.
Why not?
What do you think?
So we'll just pick. Oh, I thought I was going to draw a card and then riff off of that.
No, this time we're not drawing cards. We're just sort of filling the grid right now. So this is just us like filling the grid, taking out the placeholders and putting something in that we'd like. So in this case, all you got to do is like I was saying, Chuck's birthday party, Gen Con 2025, Super Bowl 3 when Joe Namath beat the not the Dolphins, when Joe Namath beat the Colts, that kind of stuff.
Okay, I need to think of like a really important event.
Doesn't have to be important. It might not. It might just be an event that we don't even know the importance of yet.
Okay. Okay. I apologize. I thought I was about to draw cards, so I had to put too much out there. Something that would be just a fun event.
So I'm stalling for you. Chat has thrown out the Penguin Uprising. Idea.
Could be the
I'm going to toss out there
the actual penguins,
because it's been a random conversation I had with my little girl recently. The whole reason we have teddy bears is because Teddy Roosevelt refused to kill a baby bear. And for some reason, that is extremely significant.
Okay. So are we doing the creation of teddy bears, or are we doing like
the origin of teddy bears? For some reason is very important. Like Teddy Roosevelt's choice to not murder a baby bear was for some reason very important.
Teddy bears. I'm putting it down.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Got it.
Excellent. We're off. Okay. Next up, Melissa, you are second. What do you got? Anyone?
I'm going to throw out a group.
Okay.
And I'm going to say the Pinkertons.
The Pinkertons. That's an excellent choice. I love that. That is a fantastic choice. Well done, Melissa. Okay.
Magic cards.
A fantastic choice. I love it. Okay. Next up, it's going to be Chuck. Oh, Chuck, we cannot hear you. Get the pumpkin out of your mouth.
I will not, sir. I want to go with an event as well. And I want to go with the Midwest Food Truck Festival.
Okay. Midwest Food Truck. Okay. Got it. Okay. We don't have to figure out when it is yet. That's perfect. That's I like it. Okay. Phenomenal. All right. Next up, my trick.
I'm gonna go with an individual, and I am gonna say a revolutionary poet.
Okay, revolutionary poet. like a poet who like revolutionized poetry, not necessarily a poetry who like wrote about the
poet who writes about progress and politics and
like an instigator type kind of
instigator who might be considered a problem to the state.
Okay, excellent. I want to draw everyone's. I want to draw your attention to something. I know what your character is, and I know what Melissa's character is, but that doesn't mean you have connections to this character. That's random. So you might not know this character at the start of the game. Okay. All right.
Got it.
Next up, Adam.
Okay, my choices are
everything's open still.
Person, place, event, group. Okay, yeah, everything. Trying to think here. I'm drawing a blank, but let's just go ahead and pick something. We're gonna say the Royal Canadian Mounties.
Okay, that's a group.
That's a group.
It's a group. It's the second game in a row we've had Mounties. Royal Canadian Mounties. Okay.
I'm trying to think on past campaigns, some sort of inside joke or something.
Clearly,
that's what came up.
Clearly, they're villains. Okay, and then Joe, you're the last one to round out. So, what do you got?
Okay, I'll do a place, and I was thinking like Cyberpunk Night City, but it's the Vatican, just way in the future.
Okay, Cyberpunk Vatican.
Ooh. Hell yeah.
That is so good, dude. I like that topic a lot. Oh my God, that's phenomenal. Okay, Cyberpunk Vatican. Okay, excellent. All right. So far, we've got 2 more spots for individual, 1 more spot for group, 2 spots for place, and 1 more spot for event. So everything's still open for Joe. You go again. Look at that. 2 in a row.
Oh, man. I was hoping to have more time to think of one.
Sorry.
Oh, I have an individual that I can buy some time with. For Joe.
Sure. Yeah, if you got an idea.
I do.
My try's hogging all the individuals.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of maybe I'll go with the place then instead of the individual. The place I'm gonna go with is like an ancient Athenian amphitheater.
I like it.
Like where philosophers and arguments would happen.
I like the variety.
BCE.
Okay. I'm even going to spell amphitheater with the R-E.
Amazing. And a BCE amphitheater.
Okay. I love it. Okay. Joe, was that enough time?
Yeah, it was. So I don't know if this is built in the game already, but I'd say like alternate timeline time watchers group. Like they have their own timeline that they think that they're supposed to be protecting.
Sounds like a group to me.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so alternate universe time watch org of some kind. Okay. And we can like these are things that I can also like, even if like we'll mess around with it and how it connects to your characters, but then in terms of how it like stitches into what's going on with the campaign, I can kind of find ways to like massage it and make it work. But I think that's phenomenal. Okay. That means we've got so group is done. Group is suddenly done. We've got the Pinkertons, the Royal Canadian Mounties, and an alternate universe time watch organization. Okay. So then we've got 4 of you left. All right. It's going to be
like individual.
A cave
individual.
Woman. Okay. Oh, an individual. Okay. A cave woman named Isla.
Okay. Cave woman named Isla. Okay.
No, Jeremy's love interest.
Could be. We'll see.
Or worse.
Or will be. Is like, or could be something worse. Yeah. Okay. We've got who we got left. We've got 3 of you left. Chuck.
Chuck,
the pumpkins are in your mouth again.
How dare I keep muting? It's because I'm still fighting this thing. I got this cough, and
yeah, you're good.
I don't want to share the juiciness of it with the stream. Place, pinball museum.
Okay.
Ooh.
What?
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're freaking talking.
So good.
Pinball museum. Love this idea. It's so good, Chuck.
I love it.
Okay. Phenomenal. Fantastic. Okay.
Yes.
And then we got between Melissa and Jeremy. Jeremy, you're up.
Okay. We still have
Event
what person?
Or it's event or individual.
Okay. Clearly, Tom Sawyer is aware of time travel.
Okay.
And he interjects himself for better or worse.
Okay, Tom. Okay, an aware. I'm going to put an aware. Let's see. Come on, stupid. Okay,
I like to think Tom Sawyer's a wild card. We don't really understand what his goals are.
Could be
the guy from the Rush song.
Today's
painting.
God dang it!
Oh my god!
I was going there too. I was going to say,
fuck. Today's Tom Sawyer. He gets high on you.
All right, Melissa. That means you get to finish us off with the event. What do you think?
I'm going to say that there's some kind of supernova.
Okay. Fantastic.
Cool.
That's great. Because, like, I know this is a time travel game, but we could be trying to travel into the 26th century and we could be like in different galaxies and stuff. It literally can get crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it can get crazy. So we don't necessarily have to be stationary in our planet or even in our solar system. We can do whatever the hell we want. Okay. So just to review, your individuals: a revolutionary or a political poet of some kind, a cave woman named Isla, and an aware Tom Sawyer. Our groups are the Pinkertons, the Royal Canadian Mounties, an alternate universe time watch organization. Our places are a cyberpunk Vatican, an ancient Athenian amphitheater in the BCE era, a pinball museum, and the events are the origin of the teddy bear, a Midwest food truck festival, and a supernova. I love this. Okay. I love this system already, like how this works. Okay. So now we're going to start drawing some connections. Okay. So I showed you all how to do this, or I talked a little bit to you guys how this is going to work. But in a minute, we're going to do this one at a time. You're going to go and you're going to draw a card. And that card, what it's going to do is it's going to have some instructions for it. It's going to have a prompt for you to answer some questions. It's going to be written in second person. It's got you're the you. And it's going to reference potentially other PCs, or it's going to reference any of those things that we just created. And it's give you an opportunity and sometimes pull in other people to flesh this concept out even more, or to flesh a connection out between you and that person. Okay. And we're going to do a couple rounds of this until we get bored, maybe 2 or 3, and then we'll kind of go from there. So the first person to go, it's going to be Jeremy. Okay, Jeremy.
Okay. So I'll click on the draw card thing.
Yep.
Do
I do that? Okay.
Event was when you and PC/individual fell in love. What happened to spark it? So I need to click on event to see what the event was, right?
Yeah. So first, make sure you're clicking yourself on the table.
Oh yeah, before I go clicking that. Okay, one sec. Okay.
Go
Yes,
ahead and click
I've got
on
my
event.
thing clicked and highlighted.
Okay, exactly.
Now
go
click
ahead and
event.
click on event in the chat. That is going to be the supernova.
So somehow the
romantic.
caveman witnessing a supernova. Should it be a PC or an individual?
That is.
I feel
your
awkward
call.
doing a romance with a PC. Like we're a little. I'm gonna click
Grown-ups.
individual.
Okay.
I want it to be Isla. Like I
Isla,
want
come
the
on.
dice to make
Okay,
it
I'm gonna
Isla.
click individual just because Isla's out there.
there you go.
Holy crap!
There you go.
So
perfect.
I'm so
Okay.
happy.
Typing this out. Okay, so the supernova event was when Jeremy, your character, and the cave woman Isla fell in love.
Yeah.
What happened to spark it, and are you together now? That's the question.
Okay. So I think this is a supernova that we witnessed way back at the dawn of time, whatever our timeline is. And like it was kind of a thing. We were two disparate tribes, both of us just desperately trying to find some new oasis. We run into each other. Initially, the two tribes are going to fight, and then the supernova happens, and there's that weird like standstill where the two tribes don't fight, and instead we kind of join together, and it's kind of like this beautiful thing, and the tribes survive and they thrive for a while, and me and Isla do very well. But no, we're not together anymore. And maybe that'll get fleshed out more later, but unfortunately, No,
So sad.
we did not have our happy ending.
Okay. But hey, you prevented war. So that's pretty good. You know, that's pretty good. Okay. I love how the supernova is suddenly in the ancient past, right? It's suddenly in the ancient past. Like,
Because
it's
it could
just like
be
that.
like something that we saw.
Bam.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
No, it's perfect.
Many light
So
years
good.
away. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just some weird astronomical event that you witnessed in the sky.
That all these
suddenly
people don't understand, and it was just a
Yeah.
sign from whatever higher powers may be that we need to set our shit down.
So good. Okay. I think that is it for you. Okay. So then next up is Chuck.
That's
so
me.
Chuck, click your token on the table there, and then draw a card. Get that draw card. Okay. All right.
Individual caught you at place doing something shady or outright illegal.
That tracks.
But agreed to look the other way. What were you doing?
Wow.
And what have you been forced to do so far due to this blackmail? Okay, well, let's see who this individual is.
Okay. Want to be Isla.
The revolutionary political poet caught me
Okay.
at the Pinball Museum.
What?
Okay. What the hell were you doing?
I
What were you doing?
really consider myself a pinball wizard.
Sure.
And for some odd reason, this revolutionary poet caught me tipping the table a lot.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
And the shame that it brings on me is never ending. And what was I doing? Okay, what have you been forced to do? I'm gonna say like maybe they made me do like spy stuff.
Make you a pumpkin pie.
Wow. They are forcing you to do like espionage on their behalf.
Yeah, for the revolution.
Yeah, they're political poets. They're probably using you. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Okay. That's great. Okay. I love it. Fantastic. Okay. Well done. I think is that everything?
That's everything.
Yep.
All right. All right. Next up. So we've got 4 of you left. My tray. Go ahead and click on your token and go ahead and draw that card. Let's see what we get. So far we've got the poet, the pinball museum, supernova, and the cave woman.
Oh,
it's okay. Just go ahead and click on the script in the chat there. Should do it if you click on it. There you go.
You
Is it drawing without
individual
replacement?
have a rather tempestuous on-again, off-again relationship. What is it? Which is it right now, and what makes it so turbulent?
Okay.
And I really hope it's not Isla.
Are you Isla's
I kind of
rebound?
hope it is.
Look at individual. It is
Where
Tom
Tom
Sawyer.
Sawyer.
Oh, shit, you have a
okay.
relationship with Tom fucking Sawyer.
Oh,
That's so
weird.
good.
Okay. So
Who is
I-
somehow aware?
Just say a fictional character that is now real and aware.
it could be the character that, that Twain based Tom Sawyer on, and maybe it is actually Tom Sawyer. Yeah.
Sure. We've a tempestuous on-again, off-again relationship. Which is it right now? Unlike Jeremy, who is heartbroken, I am heartful because we are on again right
Okay.
now.
Okay. All right. And what makes it so turbulent?
He's just so fucking earnest, and he's always giving me grief about how sleazy I am. But like smear campaigns are just part of my job, and like he's just so goddamn wholesome. It's very annoying.
He can fix you, right?
I guess.
I love that
I
so
don't
much.
want to be fixed. I just want to do cocaine and like.
Sure. I mean, it's the 80s. Who doesn't?
sleazy.
Right?
Exactly.
All right.
I love
This
it.
is so good.
Tom
Okay.
Sawyer's trying to fix you. That's so adorable.
Right?
Oh my goodness. All right. Next up, Adam.
Yes.
Go for it. Click on your token and then draw a card.
I've clicked on my token. I'm drawing a prompt card. All right. Myself and a PC teamed up to track down or get info on an individual / group. What mental or social talents did you show that impressed the other? All right.
Okay.
So
like
click on
that.
PC.
Click on the PC, and I'll determine which one it is. It's Melissa.
Melissa.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. Yeah, it's probably some guy from an ancient timeline. And
then,
let's see here. Individual or group?
Individual or group. You can pick whichever one you want.
We've had a lot of individuals. Let's find out.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I like it.
Royal Canadian
teamed up to take down the Mounties.
Man, Adam is setting himself up for all the good stuff.
For sure.
Taking down the Mounties.
So what mental or social talents did you show that impressed the other? I would like to think that it's the lack of social talents or being able to repress them. Because it was we had to track down a Royal Canadian Mountie that was like mounted out there, and I did know how to track. And when we got to him, he tried some violence, a little bit of the ultra violence, and I had no mercy whatsoever. And it didn't even I didn't show that it bothered me.
Okay. And then Melissa, you get to be involved in this. What is a talent that you showed that impressed Adam's character somehow?
Oh,
yeah, you both get to team up on this one. This happens. Like sometimes you get co-opt this.
Okay, so I was impressed by his tracking ability and his fighting ability.
Okay.
More or less, not his fighting ability, but just the ability to like look like he didn't care at all, like what
being
he did.
Unfazed.
Yeah, being
Okay.
unfazed.
So like
Unfazed,
professionalism and like this is what we were here to do, and we did it, and
or shell shock.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Different word for the same thing. So, what is something then that you do, Melissa, that impressed Adam's character? The World War I trench warfare.
I would say that maybe since I'm from the future, like so far from the future, that I was generally able to come back to something that was a little more kind of 20th century. That like kind of that social fitting in aspect.
Adaptability to like to like any timeline, your adaptability. Okay. Yeah.
Or adapting to so little, because there's not as much technology around. I mean, you must have been really bored.
Note that kind of stuff down, because when we get to the point where we're putting in some points, it might come up. We might figure out ways to throw some points.
And we were like middle of nowhere, Canada.
Like Yukon,
Alberta, Northern Alberta. That's the worst place. Okay, let's see who's left still.
Exporting Alberta for them. I don't want that for you.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Melissa, you're next.
Oh gosh. Okay. I am drawing a card. Either through action or a moment of confession, you revealed a secret to PC during event. How did they take this revelation?
I love it. Okay.
Right.
Who's the PC?
So PC was Joe.
Okay.
An event.
Sun Tzu, you mean?
Was the supernova.
Oh my. Supernova was his time. So you've got these cavemen tribes.
Maybe you guys
war.
Maybe you guys were in the tribes. Maybe Joe is in what, or like maybe like you guys were part of the team that was going back to ensure that there wasn't like a war between these two.
Potentially, those tribes could have killed each other, and then like the human race just
there's no
never
humanity
happened.
anymore. Exactly. Yeah. Maybe you were part of the team that blew up the star that caused the supernova to make the two tribes come together. Oh yes, there's that. You were on some spaceship blowing up a star.
Oh my god!
Distraction is an effective means preventing war.
Oh gosh! All right,
it's so
Melissa,
shiny.
This damn supernova. So Melissa, so you don't necessarily say what secret, but how did they take your secret? I mean, if you have a secret in mind, that would be great. But if not, at the very least, tell us, how did Sun Tzu actually respond to this? Did he just give you some sort of tiny piece of logic?
I'm going to say that. So for right now, I'm going to go silly, and we'll see if I change this. But I want to say that, like, the secret that my character revealed is that, like, in the midst of all of this, jumping around through time or whatever, that she has this cache of something that's equivalent to, like, a Kardashian, like, reality TV show or something that she, like, loves to binge watch. So, like, that comes up as this, like, super, like, on the down low, like media thing that's her,
like you're on stakeout watching these boring ass cavemen for days on end, and so you just secretly pull up your thing watching it, like,
just Real Housewives of Jupiter's ninth moon.
Yeah. It's like it's like keeping the Kardashians in the 26th century. So it's like 500 years. Imagine how horrific that could be.
Kardashians.
They're just like tentacles everywhere. Just plastic surgery gone crazy.
Hell yes.
Not that different, really.
Yeah, really, honestly.
No.
Okay. How did he take it, you think?
I'm gonna say that she thinks that he was super dismayed by this. And so now she constantly has to, like, prove her intelligence, because, like, this just got seen as this, like, wow, oh, you're that person. And so now she just constantly has to, like, prove that she's more than this show.
That's awesome. That's so good.
Oh,
all right. Write that down. That's so good. Okay.
I unironically love those shows.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Joe, I think you're the one who hasn't gone for the first round, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Click yourself and draw a card.
Make sure I am clicked. Draw a prompt card.
Yep. Draw a prompt card.
Draw.
Oh, here we go. Got an item.
You and PC were chasing after an item when you had a run-in with individual group. How did you two help each other deal with that? Let's do another group.
Okay. Don't forget to roll PC as well, so we know which PC.
Oh, sure. We'll do PC first.
Nice.
Chuck. Me and Chuck. Okay.
That's me.
Yeah.
And I'll do
Farmer Jenkins.
Old Farmer Jenkins.
The Mounties again.
Keep coming back. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm assuming chasing after an item.
Yeah, it's an item. Like you so items could be anything, like, heist related. So it could be something like you're chasing, Excalibur, like a historical artifact. It could be something future tech. It could be something stolen from TIMEWATCH. Like, you don't necessarily, it could just be a MacGuffin for now, and we leave it blank, and I can fill it in with something that makes sense. But if you have an
Canadians
idea,
care about the Stanley Cup, I think. So
the Stanley Cup. That's absolutely what it was. It is, of course, the Stanley Cup. It was, of course, the Stanley Cup.
I love it.
Because what people don't realize is the Stanley Cup is more than just the Stanley Cup. There's something else to it. We don't know what it is. It's some sort of advanced
national treasure thing going on with it.
It might be the Holy Grail.
It could be the Holy Grail.
It might
Holy
be.
crap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Holy Grail. Yeah.
I'm a fan of books about where the Holy Grail
is.
And Holy Grail have the same number of syllables. Chuck, I think you might be onto something.
Listen, Old Farmer Jenkins is about those conspircy theories.
I know.
Right?
All hail, patron saint, Mr. Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky.
So, Joe, you and Chuck were chasing after the Stanley Cup / Holy Grail when you had a run-in with the Mounties. So how did the two of you, you and Chuck, help each other deal with these Mounties, the situation, and this whole getting the Stanley Cup thing?
Yeah. I think Sun Tzu, he's the tactician, so he helps come up with the plan that we went to follow to deal with them. I'll leave it like vague, but
okay. Chuck, how do you think Farmer Jenkins, I know that's your character's name, but how do you think your pumpkin farmer guy contributed to this?
Well, if he came up with the tactics, Oh my gosh. I don't know. Leveraging the natural plant growth in the area because he's a farmer. He knows plants and stuff.
Okay.
Running through the Canadian wilderness with the Stanley Cup being chased by the Mounties. He came up with the plans, and I came up with the best way to leverage the environment.
Might I suggest that as you all were racing away from the Mounties, not just physically, but temporally, you were jumping through time, and you had maybe the bright idea, like, wait a second, we can't run through this patch. Not now. This isn't harvesting season. We need to run through the pumpkin patch during harvesting season. So you leapt to the harvesting season, and now suddenly there's pumpkins everywhere, and you know exactly how to navigate it, but they don't. So they're just smashing into them left and right.
Smashing pumpkins.
Just visualize it, right? Smashing pumpkins.
Oh, God. I love it.
Minus
I hate that I love it.
All right. That's round one. Let's do another round. Round. I'll do at least one more. Okay. First up is Melissa.
Okay.
All right.
Drawing a
Here
card.
we go.
Okay. Place is important to me or a PC, and the other one harmed or threatened to harm it. What happened, and how did you or they get away with it?
Ooh.
Okay.
So the Cyberpunk Vatican is either important to me or
we've got the Holy Grail. We've got Cyberpunk Vatican. I mean, it's all just tell them the storytelling itself.
We're going for this.
Oh, and Joe was involved with the Holy Grail too.
Yeah,
Oh, my goodness.
Okay,
so
get a call.
Okay, so basically between Joe and I, the Cyberpunk Vatican is important to one of us, and the other one of us harmed it or threatened to harm it. So like which one of us is important to, which one of us threatened to harm it. And then what happened that we got away with it. So is the Cyberpunk Vatican important to you or me? Do you think, Joe?
I'll let you pick.
Yeah.
Because you're the one that drew the card.
I'll say
Classic Sun Tzu. Always turning back around. You know, the best.
I'm going to go with the
best
Cyberpunk
offense is good
Vatican.
defense.
Feels like a place that would be important to my character. So
Sure. Okay. Probably from the future. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did Sun Tzu harm Cyberpunk Vatican?
Yeah. How did you threaten to harm it?
Stupid. The sentences.
How did I threaten
Your
to harm
Holy
it?
Grail is a fucking Stanley Cup. You suck. Your whole religion is bullshit.
Oh God.
Oh.
What do you think, Joe?
How did I threaten to harm it?
It doesn't have to be like intentional. You could have done something accidental. It could be just like a mistake.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I'll say I got into the archives and found some stuff I shouldn't have.
Okay.
We'll be vague that way.
All right. I like it. Archives. I mean, that the Vatican has archives where there's stuff that you shouldn't know. That doesn't sound.
No.
It's a fictional game, so I guess we can make that leap. We can make that leap.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
We're pissing off Canadians and Catholics. This is fun. Okay. Next up. Let's see. Adam.
Yep.
You are up. You are next, sir.
All right. Back when myself and Jeremy were together.
Okay. Like together?
Together.
Is that why
like
you and I look
before you broke up together?
I don't know.
Pinball Museum used to mean a lot to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meant a lot to both of you. What's special about it? After breaking up, which of you claimed it for yourself?
Oh my God.
Well, let's see. It was special because the pinball machine itself, like it was like supernova themed, and
space pinball.
He had,
some sort of space thing,
and poor Jeremy's character just could not get to the supernova that you had to get so many points for, and Thomas, my character, came along and said, I'll take the left side, you take the right side. We'll do this together. And we did it together, and it had that like pixelated supernova finally, and that's what brought us together.
We save. We save. We save.
And yeah, Thomas was just swept up in it.
Saved.
Yeah, so then
the second question though.
Yeah.
Who got it in the breakup?
Which of you claimed it for yourself?
We saved together. Me left, you right. We saved. Thomas, we saved.
I think Buck claimed it for himself.
Saved.
And maybe he's hoping that one day we'll go back to play and recreate the supernova. So I think the pinball museum is Muck's. And Thomas doesn't go there because, it's his place and he doesn't want to make things awkward.
Okay.
Left you.
You're Thomas, right? I'm sorry, because we had Tom Sawyer, so I wasn't sure.
I am Thomas Atkins.
Okay. Got it.
Maybe it's a super futuristic pinball museum and it's like actually causing real supernovas. And that's the one that they saw. As a part of the game.
Maybe every time somebody reaches that score somewhere in the timeline, a supernova happens.
I love you do like a super sad caveman just hanging out in a pinball museum.
Okay.
He doesn't have Isla anymore. He doesn't have Thomas anymore.
Yeah.
Muck,
nobody.
Muck has nobody.
Yeah. But you're on the team, and so you have to see him professionally, though. That's the worst part about it. At least you and I can stay separated, but you have to get sent on these missions. You gotta go with Thomas every now and then. Okay.
Thomas.
That's funny.
Joe, you are next, sir.
Okay. Prompt card. Okay. Individual or group controls access to a precious resource that you need. What do you need that resource for? Why did you first plan to get it? Or why did your first plan to get it fail? Let's do an individual.
All right.
Tom Sawyer. Okay.
Tomorrow's Tom
Today's
Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer?
No. Yesterday's.
Yeah. They all exist. It's like one of those.
Exactly. Tom Sawyer has or controls access to some sort of resource. What do you need that resource for? What do you think? What kind of? We don't have to necessarily identify the specific resource, but what is it? Maybe something you would need. What do you think that would be?
I want to shoehorn more into the mystical pinball museum. So he's got special pinballs that are like the only ones you can use to actually play the pinball machines.
Or the tokens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got the tokens.
It's the special tokens. It's not like everyone else just plays
Tom
with regular
Sawyer
tokens.
A pinball wizard?
Oh my God, I think he might be.
I think I just got dizzy. Okay. Okay. So that's special token. I'm gonna write that down. Pinball wizard. I'm not even taking notes anymore about what you guys are writing. I'm just coming up with random ideas for stuff. I want to share one, but I want it to be a surprise. So we'll go to it later. Okay. So it has special tokens for the pinball machine. All right. And then your question was, why did your first plan to get it from him fail?
Why did I first plan to get it? I would say he sets us on a task. And we wildly misinterpreted what he wanted us to do, and we did the opposite. And he was very upset and didn't reward us with tokens.
So Tom sounds like some kind of rogue, because we said he's aware of time travel. So he's some sort of rogue agent that you occasionally do side gigs for, probably without Time Watch knowing. So yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Let's see. I think there's 3 that haven't gone, right? I think it's my try, Chuck, and Jeremy. You haven't gone a second time, right?
Correct.
All right. Chuck.
That's me. Okay. I select me. I click the thing. Group augmented me without my consent. How has your body changed? And what did that change cost you?
Oh God.
See what
this is so good for the pumpkin farmer.
Alternate.
That makes so much sense.
Oh, yeah.
So good. This is so good.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah,
At least they didn't make you Canadian if it was the Mounties.
That's true. It's true.
Just filled you with poutine and a desire to go around on ice skates.
Yeah.
Yep.
How was my body changed? Can like not necessarily like mechanically, but maybe like they quantumly entangled me with an alternate Farmer Jenkins who grows like rutabagas or something like that.
To combine your trivia knowledge to create the super database.
Like I am bound with an alternate universe.
Showed a bunch of like
Old
extra
Farmer
revenue.
Jenkins.
You've got like you're like a gestalt. Like you're like Farmer Jenkins A
Hell
and B
yes.
smushed together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And maybe what
nice.
it cost you is like you had your thing that you were really good with, but like now you just can't remember for the life of you like what that is.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking
happened.
like absent-minded. Can't keep track of which reality is this reality.
Which one's that's so sad.
Yeah. It's like it's almost like a dissociative identity disorder kind of
Yeah.
deal, right?
Oh, I like it.
Okay.
Oh.
Heartbreaking.
Time Watch. Alternate universe Time Watch.
Yeah.
Okay. This is great. So some heartbreaking stories in here. And then also the Holy Grail. Okay.
And then also the Holy Grail.
There's that too. Jeremy.
Okay. All right. We click the card. Draw the card. You were dragged into a conflict between group and individual one and PC. Let's do group. Conflict between
alternate universe
Time Watch organization and individual one. The poet.
The poet. Okay.
Okay. So the Time Watch group, individual one, and I want to click on a PC because I love PC connections.
I agree. Whenever we have an opportunity, I think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, Melissa.
Hell yes.
All right. So the revolutionary political poet.
So there's a conflict between the alternate universe Time Watch and the Revolutionary War poet that you got caught up in. And somehow Melissa's character pulled you out of the fire, somehow saved you from getting caught up in that conflict. So
what are they talking about? You want good thing for your people. You want good thing for your people. It's not hard.
I feel like
Jeremy's character is going to talk like that, even though he has a ridiculously advanced translator that would very easily make his speech. So that's like what he says, but the rest of you hear it like normal, perfectly fine,
put a point in charm.
totally coherent.
I feel like it's like, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, but it's like you have this like revolutionary poet who talks like poet all the time, and then you have like, I'm probably going to say this wrong. It's like the part of Canada where it's like they almost have their own lingo. Like there's such different like language.
Quebec.
No,
I mean, we don't even know who that alternate Time Watch organization is from.
I didn't even say it ironically.
That's right. It wasn't the Mounties. That's right. It wasn't the Mounties. It was the Time group. My bad. Yeah.
We can still blame Quebec.
Israel, help me. Who cares what name gets used? Just don't be mean.
Right.
Why?
So I asked you a favor to pull you out, and you still owe me that favor. So I saved your behind, and I asked for a favor in return, and you still haven't repaid it.
Okay.
Wait, it looks okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I tried talking, and they just yell, and then they yell, and then everybody talks, and they don't ever say anything, and it's so why are they're so stupid?
So again, what favor? This is session 0. We're just trying to get some details down. So what's that favor, Jeremy?
What favor do I still owe?
So it's you
still
owe
me a
Melissa's
favor.
character a favor for saving your ass. So and you haven't delivered on it yet. So what is that favor?
Yeah, I mean.
So I'm thinking maybe you're gonna
track down behind the scenes footage of your show.
Oh,
I'm gonna say if it's okay with you, and maybe not, but like you were really good at like art stuff. Like you're really good at, like cave paintings and all that kind of stuff. So you're supposed to like take me to like teach me some kind of like art thing, and you haven't yet. So that's what you owe me. You owe me like
if I'm good, I spend a lot of time on it, and it makes me feel better about things. I do okay. Muck has had a hard time opening up to other people because when he lets people in, they don't like what he does and they leave him.
Yeah,
very emotionally aware caveman.
Yeah, the most emotionally aware caveman ever.
Muck's been alive for a long time.
For a very long time, yeah.
Yes.
So Muck.
Not quite. Not quite how that works, but yeah.
So Muck is there an art lesson, and that hasn't happened yet.
Okay. I lost track. Who hasn't gone a second time? Was it you, Joe? Who still needs to get it twice?
I don't think
I haven't gone
my tray.
Okay, my tray. You got one more. Go for
it. Did it go?
There it is.
There we go. You were newly exposed at place by individual, and the organization had come in and contain the situation. How did that change place? Are you still welcome there?
Organization is TIMEWATCH. So it says organization.
Sorry, individual. Okay, and organization. So this is
no, I'm just saying, like in the description, the word organization is there. That's just sort of like an all-purpose for the system. For us, we're saying it's TIMEWATCH.
Got it.
Oh,
so
man.
the place is the pinball machine. There's been a bunch of shit that happened at the pinball machine.
Yeah.
Should I reroll?
I don't think anything's happened at the food truck festival yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Are we okay if I pick one of the others?
What do you mean?
Or should I stick with pinball?
So do like
No,
ancient
stick with
Athenian amphitheater instead of pinball museum?
Nope. Stick with it.
Okay. So I was newly exposed at the pinball museum by the revolutionary poet.
That's where I hang out, and those are the people I had trouble with.
Yeah. So I how did you change place? I think I talked the poet into helping me steal a machine. And I'm sort of imagining it as like Call of Cthulhu Fast Talk, where like 20 minutes after that, he's like, wait, hang on. I think I was taking advantage of.
So that's how the museum is changed. It is down a pinball machine.
It's down a pinball machine, probably like a really important pinball machine.
I feel like the pinball museum is more than just like a pinball museum, right? Like it's like
it feels like
it started to it gained. So like I have to brainstorm that a bit, but like it's like a futuristic thing in some ways, or maybe it's like each pinball machine is like a different collapsed timeline that has been captured in the pinball machine, and so like you literally stole
save.
So there's all these different collapsed timelines that's in this pinball museum, and you stole one.
God.
Oops.
It's like a different dimension of the pinball museum.
So you're not welcome there again, right?
God, Muck is so sad.
I'm probably not welcome there anymore.
Probably not.
Okay. All right. So that's 2 rounds. We got about 40 minutes left in the stream. So that's 2 rounds. Do you want to hop into mechanics now? And if we still have time at the end, we can come back and do another round of this. But why don't we hop into the mechanics of it and get some points, and then we'll see where we're at with time. Okay. So everyone's got 2 connections. Everyone's got a couple different connections here and there. So keep that in mind. Keep the stuff that you had. And some of that might kind of get fleshed out. So let's talk about the system a little bit. 3 of us, actually, no, 4 of us, because I think Mitra, you've played it before too, gumshoe-wise, that is. So with gumshoe, the big thing is that you have 2 different kinds of abilities. And abilities there's investigative abilities, which you're going to invest some points in, and then there's going to be general abilities that you also invest some points in. Separate pool points for that. We're going to go over them one at a time. Investigative abilities are basically they're things that is how you gather information. So this game is very scene to scene dependent. You go to a scene and you try to collect information, right? Like clues, leads, figure out what the hell's going on, figure out, get leads as to like, how has the timeline been ruptured in this place? How can you point to the origin of it? And so investigative abilities are how you go about doing it. So the way it basically works when you play it is like you go into a scene and you all tell me what investigative ability you're doing as you're looking around and engaging with the scene. And then you just get information. Like you just get information for free, no roll necessary. There aren't roles that are associated with investigative abilities. It's just you get them. Then you also have the ability to potentially spend points. So you're going to invest points in these different investigative abilities. So you have a pool. And then you could potentially make spends in a scene to get greater effects. So it could be more information, or it could be to change or manipulate the scene in some way. Some investigative abilities have very specific uses as well. So just to go over a few, most of them are going to make sense based just by hearing them, but a few of them I want to call out. So anthropology, architecture, pretty straightforward. Authority is essentially your way of kind of presenting yourself as to be the person in charge or something like that. Bureaucracy is being able to like navigate labyrinthine organizations, red tape, that kind of stuff. Charm, pretty straightforward. Falsehood detection is like, what it sounds like. It's lie detection, etc. Forgery, that's not just creating forged documents and forged items, but also being able to detect it. Another way you could potentially use is like forensically. So if you need to like make a scene look like somebody else got murdered instead of who really got murdered, or throw the crime at somebody else, then you would use forgery. Your guy's favorite, hacking. You know what that does. I'm throwing shade. High society. You fit in with the upper crust, basically. And then there's 3 different histories. There's history ancient, which is information between the start of recorded civilization and the end of the 13th century. That's ancient history. There's contemporary history, which is from the 14th century to the mid 21st century. And then there's future history, which is basically any history from the mid 21st century onwards. So those are 3 different categories. Intimidation, which you know what that means. Let's see what else. Medical expertise, straightforward. Military tactics, straightforward. Notice is straightforward. Outdoor survival, straightforward. Then there's what's called paradox prevention. So a lot of this game has to do with you all preventing paradoxes and fixing the time strain, and doing so without creating additional paradoxes. And so having high paradox preventions basically lets you be able to recognize things a little bit better, lets you know how to use paradoxes to your own advantage, that kind of stuff, that kind of thing. Reassurance is just keeping people calm. There's research. When you don't know something, that's how you look it up. Then there's science with an exclamation point, which is essentially an all-purpose category for all science that you can think of. So like astronomy, chemistry, physics, electrical engineering, all that kind of stuff would fall under science. Spying, streetwise, so it's like criminal stuff. Taunt. Then there's timecraft. All of you get for free, and I've already put it on your character sheets, 1 point in timecraft. So timecraft is basically understanding and knowing the rules of TimeWatch, of how to like reestablish a diverted timeline, how to operate all the TimeWatch technology that you're going to get as part of your standard gear, all that kind of stuff. And you can put more points in it as well. And there's specific spends, but spends could be anything from like getting bonuses on certain vehicles. It could also be something like trying to break through somebody else's chronal dampening field. There's all sorts of fancy things that you can potentially do at Timecraft, but effectively it's like your use and understanding of the Timecraft concept, the science, right? And then there's probably what Chuck will be very good in, trivia, which is essentially a catch-all knowledge ability. You just know a ridiculous amount about a myriad of very unrelated subjects that aren't necessarily governed by anything else. So it's usually useless facts that seemingly are useless, but then suddenly aren't. So that's kind of those. So you all, because we're a group of 6, you have 16 points to invest. So each of you gets to put 16, not counting that freebie that you got for Timecraft. So if you look at your character sheets, so you open it up, go over to the edit, so the edit tab, and that's where you make changes. And so you kind of, you put the plus up, or you kind of enter in the number you want. So the one rule that we're going to have here is that every single one of those investigative abilities has to be covered by the team. So every one of those has to have at least one person with 1 point in it. Generally, if you have any rating at all in it, that means you're really good at it. Like you have a high degree of accomplishment. If you have 0, you are not good enough to collect information with it. So period. Okay. So that's essentially how that works. Now, during play, you're going to be spending investigative ability points to get more information, to do cool shit, right? To affect people, to affect the environment, etc. Investigative ability points do not refresh during the course of an adventure. It's only between the adventures that they investigate. So on average, like in Swords of the Serpentine, I usually recommend something like 2 or 3 a session. Look for about 2 or 3 spends a session, so that you're not like blowing everything right off the bat, or ending the scenario with like a whole mess load. So think about it in those terms. So are there any specific things that you think your character would probably want to invest some points in? Oh, the one other thing, recommended, but you don't have to follow this necessarily. Rarely would having more than 3 points in a single investigative ability be worth it, because you're probably not going to get that many spends. But you're welcome to do it if you want. Okay. Joe, did I see you have a question, or do you know what you want to do?
Yeah. Or I knew one that I was interested in was forgery.
Okay.
Nice.
Excellent. It's one of the technical ones, I think. Do you think this is the type of thing that you would be doing a lot of? Like, do you think you're going to put one or multiple, or how do you want to go with that?
Probably multiple. I see using forgery a lot to tie up loose ends and misdirect things.
Okay. Awesome. So forgery is taken care of. Excellent.
I would say
anybody
for my character, probably future history. It would make sense.
Sure.
That I've got.
I think you are the furthest in the future person here.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah. So I would say probably 2 in future history, unless I change things up a bit.
Perfect. And just having ranks in something lets you just by default use it. So even if you like made all your, like, even if like Melissa in the first 2 episodes, like spends all of her points in future history, but then in episode 3, she comes into a scene where future history would be helpful. She still gets to use it. She just can't make any spends from it to get like the bonus shit from it. But the basics, like, she would still get. So if she walks into a scene, be like, it doesn't mean you don't know anything anymore. You just don't get the bonus spends anymore. Okay. Anybody else got
just by the spends again?
We've got what, 16 to spend?
16 total. Yeah, not counting 14 the Timecraft. Okay. Joe, what are you confused about with spends?
So it's like those are the points that we're assigning.
Exactly. So like you're going to put, so let's say you put 3 in forgery. That means you have like a rating of 3 in forgery, which means you're really, really good at it. So at any point when you go into a scene, you could say, and you're like, maybe you're digging through some CEO's like some CEO's office, like in 1935, and you want to go through and you want to forge some documents. Like, you can make a point spend, and then you would be able to create amazing forgeries. Or if you just want to look at something from like the 23rd century and try to figure out whether this is like a legit weapon or if this is a forgery weapon, you might just say, I want to use my forgery skill. And I'd be like, well, I mean, you're really good at forgery. No spend necessary. You can very clearly tell. Someone as skilled as you are in forgery would know that this isn't a real weapon. This is something that somebody forged.
Yeah.
So spends are really just like bonuses.
Spend is what's confusing me. So like you're not actually expending points. You're spending points to raise it, but
you are spending points. Yeah. So when you just use ability, when you walk into a scene and say, I just want to figure out if these weapons have been forged, right? Then you get your answer. Yeah. But if you want to be like, all right, I want to make these weapons look even better so that somebody else couldn't tell that they're a forgery. Now you say, can I spend a point to do that? And I'm like, yes, you can. So you spend your point to get that bonus effect on top of it.
Like you've got a default competency based on your ranking in something, but you can spend that point in an adventure to get extra.
Okay, that's what was confusing me. Okay.
Exactly. And if you guys look at the descriptions, you can even see their sample spends. So it kind of gives you an idea of the types of things you might be able to get done with them. Okay.
I recommend in the book that they recommended to spend some points in health and chronal stability. Is this part of that 16?
That's general abilities. We'll get to that.
Right now we're on like, there's like investigative abilities, which is like, what is your core? Okay. Like, what are you good at?
Yeah.
Versus those are more like what you're going to roll on.
Exactly. So general abilities are the ones that you roll and take action with. Investigative abilities are things that you just collect information with. Is kind of the idea.
This is the investigative abilities are more like, what is the core of your character? Like, what are you innately good at?
Yeah. And so there's like 3 different categories for them: academic, interpersonal, and technical. So if you're on the edit tab in your Foundry character sheet, you're putting points in those. You can ignore, I would say, ignore everything in general. So if you're putting something in general right now, take them out. You don't do that yet. Just focus on the investigative.
Yeah. Okay.
So I assume our caveman is good at outdoor survival.
Yes. Survival, notice, and paradox prevention are my specialties.
Okay. All right.
I guess
those are my strongest skills.
Oh, Joe, you're going to go military tactics? Because
I think Sun Tzu absolutely needs military tactics.
Yeah. I'm going to put 1 point in military tactics, but
makes sense. You were a soldier. Yep. Maitra, do you have anything in mind?
Yeah, I have several. Actually, one in bureaucracy, 2 in charm, 1 in falsehood detection. Basically, a lot of interpersonal stuff. 1 in high society. I'm not taking intimidation because I that's not our game.
I'm taking intimidation.
Hell yes. I'm so glad someone else is. Reassurance and taunt. So I don't have in interpersonal authority, intimidation or streetwise, but I have points in all the rest.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. So Chuck, we haven't heard from you yet. Anything other? I know I mentioned trivia before, but like, what are you thinking?
You're muted.
Pumpkins are in your mouth again.
Dare I? Gosh darn it.
So many pumpkins in your mouth.
So many pumpkins. I've got 3 that I'm eyeballing right now. Trivia, of course.
Good.
Research. And then history contemporary.
I think those all make sense considering what you've said you want with your guy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we go through a couple and we'll see if anyone's going to claim anthropology.
Yeah, 1 point.
Okay.
Not great, but he's a caveman. He kind of gets the general vibe.
Makes sense. Architecture, Adam, you raising?
Okay.
I think Adam's 1 point in that for me as well.
Okay. History, ancient.
I'll do 2 in that.
Okay. So Sun Tzu's got that taken care of. History, contemporary. We heard Chuck's got that.
Got 1.
Okay, good. And history, future. We've got Melissa's taken care of that. Couple people we already got from military tactics. Research, Chuck has already claimed. All of you have timecraft, and Chuck's got trivia. So all the academic ones are taken care of. Interpersonal. Anyone got authority?
I'm going to put 1 point in authority because apparently we had like the tribes conflicting. So he's not great at it, but there's some level of
We can do good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to take one in authority as well.
Okay. So we've got authority covered. Bureaucracy was covered by Maitre. Charm, falsehood detection.
I want to
High
take one
society.
of that.
Okay. Anyone doing intimidation? Jeremy, you said that?
Yeah, I'm totally taking a point
Adam
in
as well?
intimidation.
Perfect. Reassurance, Maitre had at least. Adam's got it too. Jeremy and Melissa. What about streetwise? Who's the criminal?
I was
I
going
would
to do
put one.
Streetwise.
I could.
Streetwise.
Okay.
Okay. So do any of the three of you who just talked, does anybody not want to do it and you're just saying you're going to do it to be a good teammate?
I was saying I was going to do it to be a good teammate.
Okay. Don't worry about it. Adam. Save your point.
Yep.
Joe and Melissa have it. Okay.
I want one in it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it makes sense for my character too.
Okay. Perfect. Taunt. I think
I have
Maitre's got
one.
it. Anybody else got taunt?
I was thinking
What-
about taking some
what is-
taunt.
Go for it. You guys are going to have overlap. All I'm just making sure is that there's at least one
At
person
least one,
who has
yeah.
one of everything. Yeah.
I feel like it
That's all
makes
I'm
sense
doing
for
right
Sun Tzu to have taunt as well.
now. What? Okay. Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah, and
But I
even
thought
just having
reassurance.
one in something means you're skilled in it, which means
Exactly. Having a rank in it means you're very,
Yeah.
very, very good at it.
Very
You're
good.
very competent.
This is a system where having a 3 in something means you're phenomenal. Having a 1 means you're pretty good.
Okay.
That's why, like, going over like we're getting into the general ability spends because it's a little different, but like going over 3 in investigative ability, you certainly could, but it might be overkill for you. But you certainly could if you wanted. Forgery, I heard a couple people mention forgery. So we're good there.
Mhm.
Hacking, Maitre, you said you were good, right? Who else?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Of course not. You guys hate hacking. Okay, Melissa.
I
Okay.
did it last
it
time.
makes sense.
Yeah, you're right.
I got it. I got
Okay.
you.
Medical expertise. Okay, Adam. Okay, good. Because are you going with like the medic idea that you were thinking?
I'm kind of
have
combining
to.
everything into one. Yeah. But
Yeah.
like,
Okay. Notice.
I might take one just to have
Yep.
it.
Okay, in medical expertise.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremy's caveman has a lot of notice. Maitre, you got a little bit of notice. Okay. Outdoor survival. Jeremy, I assume you've got that, right?
Yeah.
What about
a
you,
lot.
Chuck?
I
Farmer
was
man.
going to take a little in notice and outdoor survival as well.
Okay.
That makes sense. Okay. Paradox prevention. Okay.
Save!
Jeremy.
Save!
Okay.
Yeah. I think that might make sense for my character.
Just this poor caveman is in his pinball machine, desperately trying to save these little realities.
All right. Science. Who's the scientist here?
Yeah, engineering.
Okay. Right, so you don't have to specify. It's just science with an exclamation point.
Science.
Okay. Spying. Anyone good at spying?
I go.
Yeah.
I want to put one in
Okay.
there.
All right. So you guys can tinker with your totals, okay, and wherever you're putting your stuff. Obviously, ultimately, you got 16 to expend. You have your point in timecraft already, so you're going to end up having a total of 17 points in your investigatives. So you can tinker with it. You don't got to worry about perfecting the exact number right this second. You can even hold back a couple points for later, and like once we start playing, you can invest them later. That's fine too. But as long as we've got everything covered, we're good to go. Okay. So let's talk then about general abilities. So general abilities, this game, this is like the actions. These are like actions you take. And this is what usually require rolls. Most of these will require a roll of some kind. And a roll in Gumshoe is just a D6. It's a D6 plus an optional modifier. Just like your investigative abilities, you're going to put points into your pools. And these are points that you can spend. And so when you go to make a test, so let's say you make a shooting test, you're trying to shoot someone. Before you roll, you can spend points out of your shooting pool to give you a bonus on that roll. So let's say you spend 3 points from your shooting pool. That means that you're going to roll a minimum of 4, which means most of the time the difficulty is 4. So that means you're going to hit. So the game, so you're going to have 50 to invest. And don't worry about overlap here. That doesn't matter. Like, you guys go nuts. It's fine. You're going to have 50 points to put in. I've already gave you 6 free points in health and chrono stability. So that's already in your sheet. That doesn't count towards your 50. So you already have 6. Health is exactly what you think it is. So if you lose health, you will eventually die. Sometimes you will also be asked to make health test or consciousness test, and it works just like you can optionally lose health. So like you could take it out of your pool, but also go down in health to try to make your test better. Chronostability is what prevents you from disappearing like Back to the Future style, where like the universe just takes you and pulls you and destroys your existence. So if you get too low on chronostability, that's what's potentially going to happen. The game recommends. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. How many points do we have for this section again?
This you have 50 to expend. Now, the game recommends a few things. You don't necessarily have to follow this, but the game recommends a few things. 7, ideally, in health and chronostability. And then core abilities, so 7 in health, chronostability, and then either shooting or scuffling. Shooting is naturally firing a weapon, firing a gun. Scuffling is melee style. So picking one of those and making sure that you're competent. And then that also recommends about 4 in like simple, straightforward things like athletics and disguise, unobtrusiveness, which is like a stealth end. Partly it's stealth, partly it's like detection. And then there's this skill called reality anchor. Most of the general abilities are pretty straightforward. When you look at what they are, they do what you think they do. So athletics and burglary and disguise and health and medic and scuffling and shooting, tinkering, unobtrusiveness, and vehicles. Couple ones that might be a little bit odd. Chronostability, like I already mentioned, that is like another health tracker, except it's the universe destroying your existence effectively. Preparedness. Preparedness is like the ability to always have what you need on you. And that's kind of like, that's essentially what it is. And there are times in which you might want to try to bring some sort of special piece of equipment. You can make a preparedness check to bring it. Reality anchor is sort of like a healing ability for chronostability. So it's a way of trying to help chronally unstable things and people. So it's trying to fade out of existence. Now, with general abilities, when you make a rank of 8 or higher, when you invest 8 points or more in a specific general ability, most of them will give you a special skill. So in this game is called a booster. So with athletics, for instance, if you were to put 8 points in athletics, you would get the booster hard to hit, which means that the difficulty number for enemies to try to hit you is up. It goes higher. Your hit threshold, like that for them to hit you, it's a little bit higher because your athletics are so good that you get that special booster. For preparedness, if you put 8 or more points into that, you get the ability flashback, which means that you can literally narrate a flashback to a time in which you essentially initiated a plan or initiated or like kind of got an item to have at the exact moment. Like you didn't know this was going to happen. You didn't like, you're just sort of like in a situation and you're like, oh crap, you know, it would be perfect right now, a chainsaw. And then you go, well, I just so happen to have a chainsaw as you pull it out and you do your little flashback ability. So that's a really fun thing to do.
Really like that.
And then there's a bunch of others like shooting and scuffling. Obviously, if you go to 8, you get some bonus stuff. The only 2 that don't have boosters are health, because it really is just tracking your health, and chronostability, because again, it's really just sort of like a health tracker. So I would recommend to make sure each of you get at least 1 or 2 boosters because they're fun to have. So just to make sure you have like, maybe 2 of them to kind of screw around with because it's really fun to do. I would also recommend that this is not like, you don't have to do this, but I would certainly recommend like talk amongst yourselves. You certainly don't need 3 people in the group, probably with flashback. It might be overkill. It might be good to have somebody with vehicles so that you can have like to keep up. So like there are times in which it might not be a bad idea to talk that out a little bit. So you don't have to cover them all. That's not a requirement. You guys can double up if you want, but it might not be a bad idea. Okay. So you get 50. Now, in terms of like what the numbers mean, if you have 0 in something, it means you can't make a test on that ability, with the exception of like scuffling and shooting. You can always make a test on that, but otherwise you can't make a test. So if you have 0 in preparedness, nope, you forgot it. You suck. 1 to 3, you're like a dabbler. You're pretty good at it, but you're not great. You dabble in it, right? 4 to 7, you're solid. Like you're not like the best ever, but you're pretty good at it. 8+ means you're dedicated. You have noticeable talent for sure. 10+ mean in anything other than health basically means that you're very impressive. Like that's like one of the best. The last little rule for this is that there's no cap necessarily to how many points you can put in a single general ability. However, your second highest thing has to be at least half as high as your highest thing. Okay. So you can't just dump 40 points in preparedness. Like it just doesn't, it's not going to work. So there's that. You use general ability points. Like I said, when you go to make the roll, you spend the points before the roll. And so you're going to run out of them. General ability points refresh much more regularly. So they're not like investigative points. You use stitches, which is those to sort of refresh your points. So you're going to be refreshing general ability points way more frequently than you would investigative points. Any questions on any of that?
I think I've got myself all set.
All right.
So do you spend one every time you use the roll? Like if you have 10 preparedness and you want to use it,
you can just roll a d6 and just take what's on the d6, or you could spend out of your pool and add that to your d6 roll.
Exactly.
Does it have to be done before or after?
Has to be done beforehand.
Yes.
Yep, beforehand. And
so if you spend enough, you know you're going to pass because you know you've spent enough points.
Your common TN is going to be 4. So oftentimes, if you spend 3, you know you'll hit your 4 to get an auto success.
However, it will, and that is true. Like difficulty of
not
4,
always,
for sure.
but just in general.
However, in this game, and I think it might even be said this in Swords of Serpentine, I just totally forgot. You don't actually know the difficulty most of the time. There's 1 or 2 rolls where you would know the difficulty ahead of time, but there will be times when you don't necessarily know it ahead of time. But most of the time, it is 4, like vast majority of the time. Okay. So does anybody like really strongly targeting a specific ability? Like you want to put so much in it that it's going to be like, this is like your identity. Like this is the booster you want. Like, Joe,
I think
what do you
Sun
think?
Tzu's got to have preparedness.
Nice.
All right. Okay.
Vehicles.
Anybody else?
I would say vehicles.
Vehicles. Okay.
Like, unless someone else really wants vehicles, like I feel like that makes sense in like a shipbuilder.
I know my top 2.
Okay. What are they, Jeremy?
Athletics and reality anchor.
Okay.
The caveman is very grounded. He's got paradox prevention and he's got really strong reality anchor.
Nice.
Paradox prevention, I would so just so you know, paradox prevention is more just you understanding and being able to identify where paradoxes are happening. It's not necessarily like an active thing. Okay.
It can also be used to have another version of yourself show up. Yes, I think of like the caveman guy having the Bill and Ted style of caveman, like of time travel understanding, where it's so simplistic that it's.
Well, I mean, that is commonly encouraged.
You've got it down.
So with grounded, so Jamie keeps mentioning grounded. Grounded is a booster. So basically, what he can do, you're going to be making time travel tests. You guys are going to be time traveling a lot. It's not just like you travel once and that's it for the scenario. You're going to be traveling once and you're going to be doing it a bunch of times. Sometimes you're going to like time travel mid combat to go somewhere else and then come back, right? Or you're going to time travel mid scene to like go get something, or to like go back a couple days before, like, because you see something strange at a scene, like, huh, that's really strange. I wonder what happened. You time travel back a day and you figured out what happened. Boom, done. Every time you time travel, you have to make a paradox test, basically, or a time travel test, I should say, which could potentially cause you some chronostability loss. But if you're grounded, that means you're going to ignore a bunch of them. Like you get like a bunch that you can just ignore per scene. So it means
either
it's easier for him
or not. 50-50. Stop thinking so much. Just do it.
Okay, my trade. Is there any you're thinking? Any you're like you really want to focus on for yours?
Not any that I've got my hat thrown on right this second. So skip me for now.
What about you, Adam?
I'll have something.
I tried to get a few 8s in some different territories. So I've gotten 8 in athletics, 8 in medic, 8 in scuffling, 8 in shooting, and 8 in tinkering.
Yeah, I think that all kind of makes sense especially for like for what your gig was, like for being a trench warfare guy. I think all that makes sense. Like one of the things with medic, so when you normally heal somebody, you like that's usually there's no roll. Most of the time there's no roll for healing. You just kind of spend the points and you heal somebody. Usually it's harder to heal yourself, but because you put so many points into it, you don't get penalized for healing yourself. You heal yourself just as well as other people, which is really cool. Chuck, what about you? Anything you're thinking?
The only thing that I so far think looks very fun to get up to an 8 is unobtrusiveness.
Sure.
So I can get nothing to see here. Just a regular farmer. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So what that would let you do, one of the things with nothing to see here is that that'll help the whole group too, because in this game, there's something called piggybacking. And that's kind of like almost like a group test, if you want to think about it in those terms, but one person kind of leads it. And then everybody else kind of follows and they spend. You make it easier and cheaper for other people. So you can kind of lead other people in stealth tests or just to sort of like, blend in with the crowd or however you want to use it. So it's very, very, very useful. Okay. All right. Melissa, did you have any others? You mentioned vehicles. Anything else you wanted to call out?
I think I'm going to be pretty good at shooting. Like I'm imagining sort of, futuristic laser rifle kind of thing was originally her jam. Sure. So she's skilled with that. And a little tinkering. I would say those are probably my top 3.
Yeah. Shooting comes with double tap, which means you basically get to shoot twice in one action. The second shot is a little bit more difficult, but you get 2 shots, whereas everybody else only gets 1.
Nice.
So very, very useful. Okay. What about, so my trait, I'm going to come back to you. Is there anything else you want to call out before I move us on?
Preparedness or disguise are the 2 that are catching my preparedness specifically because like I'm thinking of like shit that can be used to bribe people. Like, I know this guy's like favorite brand of cigars.
Yeah, no, for sure. And preparedness, like you can still, so you can use preparedness and then there's the flashback, right? Preparedness you can still use to get whatever the hell you want. You can bring that along with you. You can buy stuff, you can wheel and deal. And then flashback is the one that you can kind of do like mid something. And it's like a Blaze in the Dark style flashback. I just have it. Yeah. Disguise has Don't I Know You? It's the name of the booster. Basically, you can convince the person you're talking with that you are a distant acquaintance from some point in the past. So basically, you can you can basically gaslight somebody.
My trait. I've just decided I had a couple of spare points. I was going to put him in medic. I'm going to put him in disguise. I want the caveman to have 2 points in disguise.
Okay.
Well, in political spin doctor, the whole like, absolutely, I know you, and we met at this fundraiser. Totally fits.
That's good.
Okay. So again, feel free to tinker with your points between now and when we go. And also feel free to not spend some. Like if you want to reserve some until you start playing the game and then you can invest them later, that's totally fine. You don't necessarily have to put them all in right now.
I might do that if that's okay. Just to kind of, I generally like to like get to know my character and as you all do.
Absolutely. For sure. Couple other things before we get out of here. Let's talk about standard issue gear. If you look at your character sheet, there should be an equipment tab. If you go over to the equipment tab, you're going to see a list of items that are already in your inventory because they come standard. And so all of you have these and all of you know how to use them. And if you click on any of them, they'll give you like the full description. But just to kind of give a quick rundown, all of you have an autochron. This is your time machine. And it's essentially like a bar. That's all it is. It's like a bar. It's literally just a bar. And then you input some data. There's like a holographic kind of UI that pops up and it extends and then it creates this big purple bubble around you. And then you go. It'll transport you and then one other person potentially who's in kind of close proximity to you as well. So, and you're going to be using this a bunch. So there's that. There's lots of other little things in the description if you want to take a look at it, but that's effectively what it is. You also have what's called impersonator mesh, which is just a way of making you uninteresting to people in the times that you jump to. If you look weird If you look like a cyborg or if you look like a caveman with a big old forehead or whatever, no, you don't. Not when you go to the 1940s.
Prominent.
And you also don't sound like that because you have a translator. The translator is an instant universal translator, so you never have to worry about learning languages or communicating with people. You have a med kit. All of you have med kits, which does what you think it does. You have mem tags, so memory tags or memory modifications. So you can like tag people and it can kind of like rip memories out of them. You can even like tag them for like retrieval back to the Citadel. You all have a pacifist disruptor. That's basically a weapon. It's a stun gun. You can either use this at like close range, like a handful of feet away, or up in melee. You can make it a melee weapon or like a short range, like taser kind of deal. You have a tether, which is a holographic PDA that connects to, I think, earbuds, and that lets you access information. It's how you can use things like research, for instance, and such, like when you're like in the middle of somewhere. You all have a TIMEWATCH uniform, which is both armor, so it's chronomorphic, which means it's always going to reshape itself to something that suits the era. So like when you show up in an era, as much as Jeremy might want to say he's wearing a toga, that's not what he's going to be wearing if he's going to like 1935. Like he's going to be wearing something that fits that era, right? Because you don't want to stand out.
I don't think I've ever seen Jeremy's heart break. Oh, I can't remember.
Should have read the rules.
Oh, God.
Wouldn't have gotten your hopes up. I mean, if it was 1960s, it would make perfect sense if it's like on a college campus.
Party.
But like,
I actually really want like Muck to be like this really old caveman who's like you've got your grand level and like that's your understanding, but he's been around a while.
He has been. He's so smart.
Okay. And then
smart, I don't know.
Last couple of things for you to think about. You don't have to do it right now, but think about it. And especially as you start thinking about your character more and how you've made these connections, all of you have a drive. So the drive is what pushes you and like kind of defines your character and pushes you into action. It's the thing that gets you to do the thing, to get you to investigate, to get you to time travel, to get you into the actions. Like what is driving you? This can change over time. There are a list of them that I put in the rules help doc on Foundry. If you want to go through them, that is not an exhaustive list. Those are just kind of examples. So like you can take some, and it also gives you examples of how to take something that's relatively generic, like altruism, and turn it to something a little bit more specific and tangible to what we're doing, like death to the strong, right? Something like that.
Or
how or how if it's in the case of like friendship, it could be loyalty before life or something like that. So you're welcome to use the drives. You're welcome to come up with your own. Mechanically, all these really do is like if you play to them, and by doing so, it puts yourself at risk. You get rewarded for stitches. So if you like role play towards your drive, that's one of the ways you earn stitches. And stitches again are what you use for various bonuses and for restoring your general abilities. And then the last thing to think about between now and next time is to think like you can flesh your character out a little bit more if you want. But here's what I'm going to say. You cannot contradict anything that we have come up with tonight whatsoever. If you didn't draw a connection to one of the things on the grid, you cannot draw a connection to it. So if you weren't connected to the pinball museum, you're not connected to the pinball museum yet. Doesn't mean you won't at some point be connected. That's part of the play. All right. So none of that changing kind of stuff. You can also have a secret if you want, but I'm just going to say this to you guys. We've been playing a lot together. We playing six players is a lot. As I think we all know, it's really hard sometimes to get super intricate personal stories. So if you want to do secrets or if you want to have a cool background, if you don't tie it to other characters or if you don't tie it to the events, it's probably not going to come into play. So I'm more than happy to do secrets. I'm more than happy to do background stuff as long as you're tying it to other things that we came together, because that's really the only way we're going to see it in play, because there's just too many of us to really give everyone time. So just keep that in mind as you're sort of tinkering and fleshing out your character a little bit so that we can kind of make all that work. Okay. Questions before we close it up for tonight? Lots to think on.
I don't think so.
Question with the translator.
Yeah, man.
How much does it contextualize what's being translated to you?
It does. It's going to make it so that whatever it is you say generally speaking, it can sort of like vocalize it in a language that would make sense where you're going. There are exceptions. So if it's like some weird alien language, like if you guys go to some far distant planet, maybe it doesn't work. But if you guys go back to like the 1940s or you go back to Russia in the 19th century, you're fine. Like it's fine. Like the game doesn't want to hold you up on those types of things. You know, it wants to get you into the action. It wants you to do things.
So it translates like phrases and things too. Like,
there's other things you can do. I think it also can like translate written text. It can look at even like hieroglyphics. Like if you go back to like, you know, the BC era and you're looking at, or even maybe even cave paintings based upon what we're doing, you might even be able to contextualize random runic symbols and stuff on there. So there's that. All right. I think, unless there are more questions, session 0 has come to an end. We good? All right.
Yay.
We did
so
it.
Excited.
Okay.
So
excited. I'm really pumped for this.
I know.
Me too.
I do. You guys, I am pumped for Mounties again. I am pumped for the Stanley Cup being the Holy Grail. And this freaking pinball museum is fascinating.
I'm really sad about the caveman that just spends all his off time at this pinball museum.
Reflecting on love's lost.
Yeah.
You just think about all of his like failed love attempts.
Oh goodness!
I want to see what you do with Cybertech, the Cyberpunk Vatican.
Cyberpunk Vatican. Oh my god! We have to have we got to do a heist at the Cyberpunk Vatican. We have to do some sort of heist mission.
Yes,
they do.
So cool.
We got to figure that out. I am going to. So I'm going to start us off. I'm at least going to start us off with like a pre-made, just so I can see kind of how it works. But then as we go, I might spiral out and do our own thing. But or you know, I just might replace it and reskin some things. Okay. Let's get on out of here. Let's do some close and plugs first and tell everybody where you can find all your cool content, because there's people here who make other stuff. I'm going to go based upon the overlay. So my Trey, tell us where we can find you on the internet and what you do.
I am Plays Games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic or multi-system, if you prefer, development content that centers the GM and player experience that you should check out if you want to check that kind of thing out.
Fantastic. Joe and Chuck, you can jump in on this. You want to tell us a little about DOK? What's going on with Defenders?
I'll let Chuck say what's going on. He knows our schedule for us better.
Wednesday, we're doing Savage Rifts. Friday, we're doing more of our Cyberpunk campaign. It's Always Sunny in Night City. And then Joe, you should be up on Saturday.
Yeah, this Saturday, hopefully running the Salvage Union. We've been off for a while. It's been an even spread of people missing for various reasons, but hopefully this week coming up, it'll be good.
Okay. Adam, what about Cannon Otter? What's going on with you guys, man?
We are wrapping up the layout for our next game, Skin City. Chuck just told me he went through all the edits that Bert made, and he's getting those wrapped up. And after that, it will be a matter of getting it to layout and proofs, and then we should be able to deliver here soon. If you're in the Kansas City area, or you want to go to the Kansas City area, at the end of June, we'll be at CantCon with a booth. So come by and say hi, and then if not, buy a book from us. Go to store.canonotter.com and buy Teenage Odyssey so Chuck can have a chicken nugget.
Story.
Fantastic. Okay. Chuck, you got anything to add to that?
Buy my book.
Okay. There it is. Speaking of buying books, I got another one for you to buy. Huckleberry RPG. You can find it at huckleberryrpg.com. You can also hop in our Discord and you can chat about it. Our buddy Steven has been making this. It is a cinematic horror Western game, and it's a lot of fun. You should take a look at it. Then for our streaming schedule tomorrow night, we've got Perils and Princesses, and it should be the finale, as well as Kipster has been running us through the Sweet Revenge campaign, and we're almost done. Thursday, we're playing another Gumshoe game. I've already mentioned it. We're playing some Swords of the Serpentine, myself, Jeremy, Melissa, and some other folks as well. And we've learned that family sucks. Friday this week, we're playing Magnus Archives as Steven, our dear friend Steven, is running us through that. And on Saturday, I'm realizing I'm doing a lot of Pelgrane press stuff. So we're doing Eternal Lies, if you're familiar with this. It's a Trail of Cthulhu campaign. However, when we started the campaign, I didn't know how to do gumshoe, and Steven didn't want to learn on another system. So we were doing Call of Cthulhu, but it's still like a Pelgrane press like product. So like our bad for that. It's a little late in the game. We're like halfway through. We're in Ethiopia and things are going crazy. So yeah, there's that. And then we'll be back next week with more of this. That's what we got.
Yay.
All right.
So exciting.
We're gonna raid a friend of ours who asked, as he's doing some Star Wars stuff over on his channel, and so let's go ahead and do that. It's Revenge. Is today Revenge of the 5th? What is it? Is this
Revenge of the 5th?
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow?
Today.
Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah,
Revenge of the 5th?
I think it is.
Yesterday was May of the 4th. Okay.
May
Anyhow,
4th. Yeah.
whatever. Time's meaningless. All right. We'll see you later.